वेलकम बैक डियर स्टूडेंट्स। आज हम डिस्कस करने जा रहे हैं एडवांटेजेस ऑफ क्रॉस पॉलिनेशन एंड डिसएडवांटेजेस ऑफ क्रॉस पॉलिनेशन। फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल वी विल टॉक अबाउट द एडवांटेजेस ऑफ क्रॉस पॉलिनेशन। Cross pollinated plants, they are having a number of advantages, and these advantages include, first of all, we have a number of plants, okay, which are self-sterile. Self-sterile means their pollen grain cannot germinate on their own stigma. So, and in such cases where you have self-sterility issues, cross-pollination is the only way of producing the progeny. The second one is, because of cross-pollination, there occurs recombination of genes in the offsprings, and this recombination of genes, it leads to genetic variations. Okay, now you say that cross-pollinated populations, they are genetically more diverse. What are the benefits of large genetic diversity, more genetic diversity? Number one, those populations which are genetically more diverse, they are having more chances of adaptability. They can adapt to the changing environmental conditions. Okay, for example, you are having a population having 50 individuals, and these individuals are different in terms of their genetic makeup. Obviously there are some chances that a few of these individuals, they are capable to uh, cope up with the changing environmental conditions as compared to a population where all the individuals are genetically similar. Okay, if all the 50 individuals are genetically similar, they may not be able to cope up with the changing environmental conditions, and obviously the population will be wiped out. So populations are plants which show cross pollination. They are genetically more diverse, and they have the more chances of adaptability to the changing environmental conditions. The second one is, because of increased genetic diversity, increased variations, the plants which are cross pollinated, they are more resistant to diseases as compared to plants which are pollinated, which are self pollinated. Okay, because of increased genetic variations, a few variants they may be resistant to the diseases. Then one more is, the plants which are cross pollinated, they show hybrid vigor. Hybrid vigor means they are superior in terms of biomass production, they are superior in terms of their yield, they are superior in terms of relative growth rate, and so on. Okay, they are vigorous as compared to the plants which are self pollinated. Okay, why they are vigorous? Because they are hybrid. They have been produced as a consequence of mating between two genetically different individuals. Cross pollination is helpful in order to introduce better characters and remove the defective ones. By using cross pollination, by adapting cross pollination, for example, you are having two plants A and B. Okay, you know that A plant possesses character X, beneficial character, and this plant B possesses character Z, which is also a beneficial character. Okay, and when you allow these two plants to uh, mate, obviously in the offspring you are going to have both X and Z. So you introduce better characters, and you can remove the defective ones as well. How? You are having a population. Okay, you will select plant A and you will reject plant B, for example. Why? Because this plant is having a harmful character. Instead, in place of plant B, you will select plant C, which is having a beneficial character. So you will mate A with C. Okay, this A is having a beneficial character, this C is also having a beneficial character, but the B, it is not having a beneficial character. You will remove this from the hybridization experiments. You will not use B in hybridization experiments. And most importantly, you will see the plants which are cross-pollinated, their yield never falls below an average minimum. Their yield always remains high. Okay? The yield of plants which are cross-pollinated, their yield always remains above average. Okay? It increases. Simply stated, the yield of plants which are cross-pollinated, it is more as compared to the yield of plants which are self-pollinated, because yield depends upon the genetic constitution. Since the plants which are produced through cross-pollination, they are hybrids. Okay, obviously there will be hybrid vigor and yield will be more. So these were some important advantages. Now let's move to the disadvantages of cross-pollination. These include, in cross-pollination, two parent plants are required. This is the first disadvantage. You should have two parent plants, okay, for pollination to happen. The second one is, it depends on external factors or agents like insects or wind. Without these factors, without these agents, cross-pollination is impossible. The third one is, there is lower probability that cross-pollination will occur, while as in case of self-pollination, the chances of pollination occurring is large. Okay? Why? Because in cross-pollination, the pollen grains, they have to transfer from anther of one flower on one plant to the stigma of another flower on another plant, and there are chances that this pollen may not land on the stigma. Okay, when distance increases, the chances of pollen getting lost also gets increased. So there is lower probability that cross pollination will occur. And finally, more energy is required and more pollens are wasted as compared to self pollination. In cross pollination, the plants, they have to adapt some devices, they have to devise some mechanisms. For example, they have to produce enough nectar, they have to produce enough pollen grains, okay, so that pollination can occur. So there is more energy consumption in case of cross pollination, there is more pollen production in case of cross pollination, because a large number of pollen grains, they are lost in transit. When they move from one flower to another flower situated on another plant, there are chances that they may get lost. That is why more pollen grains are wasted and more pollens have to be produced in cross pollination. So in terms of energy, it is energetically expensive process. It is an energetically expensive process as compared to self pollination. So these were some important advantages and disadvantages of cross pollination. See you soon with a new lesson. Till then, take care.